So this year I was awarded less financial aid than I was last year. So now according to a Washington Post, an average college student makes around $10,000 a year, with $7,000 going towards tuition and leaving them with roughly $3,000 to fend for transportation, housing, food, etc., and other necessities. The decreasing financial assistance is harming public universities, and I will show this through my 3 points. 1, tuition increase is negatively affecting college students. 2, the effects of decreasing financial aid. And 3, increasing enrollment for community colleges is affecting state schools. Now, to begin, the College Board's annual report claims that the increase in average tuition and fees charged by public universities rose from 2.6 to 3.9% this year and might continue to rise as we progress. Now, most college students receive more loans than grant aid every year, and it gets to the point where in situations where students have to accept these loans or else they can't afford a public university, the tuition of a public university, sorry. So then, because of this, these students begin to, they don't see, so now out-of-state students don't see other colleges as an option because of the tuition increase. And if some of you are out-of-state students, you guys might know that you guys get out-of-state tuition, so it's maybe twice as much as it is for an in-state student. So out-of-state schools don't become an option for many students because of the cost. Now, according to an NBC News report, DACA students are the ones that tend to be the most affected with the tuition increase. In Arizona's latest ruling, tuition could cost double, even triple for the DACA students. More than 2,000 DACA students, studying in Arizona public colleges. So this just proves that even if you're a student in Arizona or if you're out of state, you're still paying double or triple the amount. So to continue, financial aid is decreasing for public universities. Now, according to CNN, a family's annual income determines the award a student receives without considering the fact that many families have an expected contribution of 0 and other medical bills and other bills that they don't take into account. Also, according to the College Board, outside scholarships affect our financial aid package, and this is important because a lot of scholarships are not as big, or they're not for your 4 years of your undergrad or however long your education is, so you don't have this money all the time. Furthermore, the Education Department claims that 1 in 3 undergrads who apply for financial aid qualify for what's known as a Pell Grant. That's roughly 90% in 2013, 2014. So meaning that they left 10% out of $6,000 in grant. To continue, students cannot afford to go to state schools, so they began to look for alternative ways to fund their education. They rather take a longer time to receive their degree. So the increasing enrollment for community colleges is affecting state universities because community college students receive offers such as the bog waiver, which pretty much covers their tuition if you're a community college student. Now, according to Simple Tuition, the top listed alternative way to afford college is attending a community college. So that just proves that how financial aid decreases, many students really can't afford it, even if you're in a average salary for a college student. So to continue, as the enrollment for state universities decrease, funding will also decrease, meaning that the students that are in state universities won't have the resources we have now. In conclusion, the increase of tuition will only continue to affect students and the public universities. Financial aid is already decreasing and making it difficult for many to afford college. Thank you.
Jose, the use of a personal story at the beginning is fine to get our attention, but the claim needs to be a little bit clearer. I think you've buried it there. I do think I picked it out because we had talked about it before, or I at least looked at your outline, and I knew what it was that you were trying to get to eventually. But it should be clearer to everybody who's listening, and I think that it kind of gets lost in the opening muddle there. You're kind of rushing through your preview. You do have a structure that you set up for us, but you go through it very quickly, and sometimes they're not even complete sentences. You're just giving us a word or a phrase there that we're going to hang information on, and I think you need more declarative sentences on those points. When you get to the body of the speech, there's not really a distinct second point, distinct labeling of the first point. You just kind of dive right into some information. I think you need to have some more information that shows that college grants and loans and financial aid are less available. The only thing that I heard that was specifically targeting that issue was your own personal experience. If there's less financial aid available each year than there was the year before, there should be some kind of statistic that you can point to, some trend that somebody has noticed, some evaluation that colleges and universities are taking note of, and you should be able to cite that in the speech. The one thing that you do suggest is that the way that it's been switching is that it's less grants and more loans, and I think that that's a good piece of information to have. The proof on it is a little bit thin, but it's a conclusion that comes from a more authoritative source. You did cite the College Board in several places and offered some information from the Department of Education to support those positions. So I think that seems pretty reasonable. There was some confusion, I thought, at one point, because you had this information for the Department of Education that said 1 in 3 qualify for Pell Grants, and then 90% get these, and I'm not exactly sure what the combination of statistics means. I think sometimes the information is being presented without being explained, and so as a consequence, I don't always know what inference I'm supposed to be drawing. I know in general you seem to feel like there is an insufficient amount of financial aid, and that the consequence of that is that people are being forced to go to the community college as a way to gain access to the state university system. And that's, I'm sure that that's in part true. What the consequence of that is, why that's harmful, needs to be explained more. The closest you get to that on your third point, you said, well, if there's decreased enrollment, that means there's going to be decreased funding and less resources for the colleges and universities. Well, I don't have any data that says that enrollment is decreasing at the state colleges and universities. That's kind of an assertion on your part. I don't have any information that talks about what the funding levels are like, so that feels a little bit thin also. You just basically make that as a claim at the end, and there's no proof or any information that supports that position. I think you're likely to find a sympathetic audience here with people who are facing similar issues to you with questions concerning how they're going to pay for school. I think you started off pretty well talking about what the expenses are, how much students make, and how much have to be devoted to paying for their education. But the information about the grants and loans and other financial aid, I think, is a little bit less clear than it needs to be. And the inferences that you're drawing are not necessarily something that is harmful. So if people, if it saves the state money to have you go to the community college for 2 years or 3 years before you go to the state university system, and you still manage to get your degree, why is that a bad thing? There should be some explanation of that also. All right, thank you.